Greetings, Georgia Virtual School teachers. I wanted to share with you two Web 2.0 tools that I think that you would find useful in your online classes. I chose Kahoot and Flipgrid as two tools that provide formative assessments and also some interaction with our online students that sometimes we lack because of our platform as online teachers. So first, let's take a look at each tool and how they're similar and how they're different, and then I'll show you some examples. So when I looked at similarities, and this is really part of the reason I chose these tools, is that number one, both of the applications are free. You can do many activities without having to sign up for a paid subscription for both Kahoot and Flipgrid. I also wanted to make sure it's something that we could use in the online classroom. Is it just some technology that we're throwing out there in a news item or in our synchronous sessions, or will it really add to their learning either asynchronously in the classroom or synchronously in the live weekly sessions? Both tools will allow you to provide some type of prompt or an image, or in some cases a video that students can respond to assess how their learning is going. Again, they're both formative assessments, and then I also like that students and teachers both can download the app to their phones, or they can use either of the tool on a desktop computer. Here's where they are different, and this is really with how I'm going to use them in my online classroom. Kahoot, I'm going to go from the bottom up. I'm going to use it in my synchronous learning. So I'm going to use it in my Jigsaw classroom in my weekly sessions. A couple of ways I envision using this. Number one is kind of a pulse check tool to kind of see if the students are alive. Are you out there, Sam student? Are you still awake? And so you can, kind of have them ask them a question and respond either on their phone or on the computer. As a multiple choice tool, this has a whole bunch of different options. So it could be a ticket out the door. It could be an assessment of their content that you're learning. And one thing that I thought would really be neat is using it as an assessment for our introduction welcome session that we have to do with each one of our new enrollments. And then I like that Kahoot gives you reports on how well everyone did. So that's some data that you can go in and kind of determine, is your class doing poorly at this topic as a whole, or is it just one or two students? Flipgrid, on the other hand, I'm going to use in my asynchronous learning. So I'm going to post this in my classroom, and I'm going to use it as a discussion tool. And right now I'm thinking about using it for review towards the end of the semester. I like that it has the face-to-face component, and you can see my face when I'm making the flip prompts, and then I can see the student's face when they're responding to me. So you get that interaction that's missing when you're behind a computer screen and it's just really a monitor to a monitor. So I think that brings some personalization to the online platform. So let's look at my accounts. Let me show you what I've done here. Okay. I'm going to go leave this, and I'm going to go home. So inside my Kahoot account, I have set up just a sample question that I'm going to add to for my introduction sessions. And again, the introduction sessions, as we all know, are very important in relaying the expectations, procedures, and policies of Georgia Virtual School to each session when they start. And so my idea for this is to have a Kahoot ready to screen share with students at the end of the session to make sure they are understanding important takeaways. For example, the late work policy, how to read the calendar, that you cannot use Google Docs, things of that nature. So let's look at the first question I did. This is just a personal question about me that I was playing around with. So again, I'll go to screen share with my students, and they'll see this pop up on their screen. And then I will have put in the chat box or either a web link where they can go, kahoot.it, or shared with them ahead of time to go ahead and download the Kahoot app on their phone. So the first thing they'll need to do is put in the game pin, and then enter. And then they'll put in their name. It says nickname, but I want them to put their names in. And if I have multiple Savannahs in a class, I'll ask them to put a last initial. And once everybody has done that, they can let me know in the chat box, and I'll hit start. And so there's one question for this example. How many kids does Mrs. Hall have? And I'll talk about this in my intro. And then students can respond on their phones, and they'll figure out if they are correct or not. And the next thing is Flipgrid, and I went ahead and set up a board for review resources for Psychology B. And what I want students to do here is click on my intro prompt, and I'm going to let them know that they are to, number one, find a resource to help review content from the course, and then number two, in 3 minutes or less, they're going to explain in their flip why they chose that resource and how it's going to help them review for the final exam. So we can kind of play that for just a second, maybe. I think my volume's off, but that's okay. So, again, back to Flipgrid and Kahoot. These are two really cool, easy tools that I think you could bring into your online classroom that would really amp up both student engagement and personalization in the classroom. And I hope that this short video was informative and gave you some ideas maybe of how you could tweak this and personalize it for your classroom. Thanks.